Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I am Kelly Stewart, and we are talking soccer today, specifically the 2020 Euro Championships that are going to take place this summer. Last year, they got postponed, but they are back with a vengeance this year. With me to discuss is WagerTalk's own Carmine Bianco. Welcome, Carm.
Kel, always a pleasure to see you, and of course, always a pleasure to talk European football. I'm absolutely psyched for this summer's tournament.
I guess I should have called it football. We already know, Carm. The only time that I bet soccer is when you tell me to. We had a monster run in the 2018 edition of basically your soccer tournaments. So we're going to try to rally that back, get it done again for 2021. Today, we're going to discuss 6 groups, 24 teams. We're going to look at some of the favorites, some of the long shots. But for those of you that are new to us here at Wager Talk, Carmine did a preview before the last big tournament. That was the 2018 World Cup we were just discussing. He predicted not only France at 7-1, but Croatia at 40-1 odds as your winner and your dark horse. And guess what? Those two met in the finals. So you made money if you followed Carmine.
Yeah, it was a good time in that tournament, and especially for a lot of clients and just people who followed along when they saw the preview, not the preview show, but our prediction and preview publication that we put out, and we'll have more on that towards the end of the show. But Croatia made a very good run to the finals at 40-1. So let's see what we can do for the Euros.
Absolutely. Let's get into this tournament. 24 soccer nations, and this one looks a little different for the first time in history. Carm, can you let the audience know what to expect from this tournament?
Yeah, this is the first time in the 60 years of this tournament that it's not being played in one host nation's country. This is going to be played in 12 cities across the continent, and it's going to set up a lot of different scenarios. You're going to have a lot of teams who are playing on home soil, and it's just a completely different feel to this. And as such, I think it's going to provide some very good betting opportunities as well.
Carm, can you touch on some of those advantages for those teams that are playing on their home soil?
Yeah, you're going to look at, you've got teams such as let's say Italy, England, Spain, Germany, Netherlands, and Denmark. 6 teams in 6 different groups who will play all of their games on home soil. Italy will play at Stadio Olimpico in Rome. You have Spain that plays in Sevilla. You have Germany that will be playing in Munich. The Netherlands in Amsterdam. So you have a lot of teams, and of course England playing at Wembley. All 3 of their games and the semifinals and finals are also going to be hosted in Wembley. So you have a lot of teams that it's always great to play on home soil. It gives you some opportunities, and then you've also Denmark, who are in Belgium's group. It gives you some opportunities, and that number, as far as the betting lines are factored into that as well too. Teams tend to play obviously better at home. There's fans there'll be fans in the stands, which is great. The world is returning to some sort of normalcy, Kel. That we get to see fans in the stadiums as well too. So I think that's a great aspect of what this tournament is all about.
Yes, Carm, that is great news. But let's start off by discussing some of the favorites in this tournament. World Cup champions, France leading the charge at plus 450. England, who lost in the semifinals in 2018, is 5-1.
Yeah, looking at the first couple of them, obviously France are. This is a team with a wealth of talent. Everything from you look at their players, and they're such a young team. And I talked about it in 2018 and why I thought this team would not only compete and have a chance to win the 2018 World Cup, as they would to come back and be favorites in this Euro tournament, and then in next year's World Cup that's going to be played in Qatar. You look at players like Kylian Mbappe, Antoine Griezmann, Benzema, Pogba, N'Golo Kante, who one of my favorite players now. He is a midfielder for Chelsea in the Premier League, and Chelsea just comes off a win in the finals of the Champions League against Man City, and he played a huge part of it. Such a fantastic holding midfielder. And then you have a back line with players like Pavard and Varane. They're such a tough team. They're going to be a tough team to break down. And I expect them to go very deep in this tournament. The one drawback of this uh, France team, and probably that price at 450 is they're drawn into what is called the group of death. Group F has teams like Portugal, Germany, who will play all three of their home games in Munich, and just with those three, and then the unfortunate team, the fourth place team, which is Hungary, that they are kind of stuck there with these three teams. But the way this tournament is set up, the top two teams in each group will make it into the knockout stages. And then from the six groups, the four best third place teams will also make it into the knockout stages. So this France team will be one of those top three teams in unless they completely implode. I just don't see that happening. They're going to make it into the knockout stages. They probably don't want to finish second in this group because the second place team in this group will have to play the winner of Group D, which is projected to be England. And the Three Lions have a very good team as well too. The good thing for France is they'll be completely battle tested by the time having faced Portugal, who they lost to in the 2016 final at home in extra time, and a German team looking to make amends for their horrible 2018 World Cup. As far as England goes, I mean, this is what makes this tournament interesting. As I spoke about earlier, they're going to play all three games at Wembley Stadium with fans in the stands. They play so well at home. And then the semifinals and finals are at Wembley Stadium. And I'm not saying they're going to make it to the semifinals or finals, but the road is paved for them that if they do make it deep in this tournament, they're going to be playing at home in front of a lot of their fans, the way the ticketing is set up. My only drawback on this Three Lions team, and if you're a fan of this, and I know you'll probably comment on it later, you've got to agree that this team has the capacity sometimes of completely switching off. And for those unfamiliar, switching off is where you just lose focus within a game. They did it in the 2018 World Cup in the knockout stages against Colombia, late in the game, up 1-0 on a set piece, a corner. Nobody guarding the far post, and they score in a corner, sends it to extra time. Luckily, they're able to win. They meet Croatia in the semifinals, and again, played a fantastic first half, and then a completely different second half, sort of switched off. Croatia got the equalizing goal, sent it to extra time, and won that game. And it's just one of those things with this England side. They sometimes do it, but their manager, Gareth Southgate, has a wealth of talent. I'm sure that they'll learn off those experiences, and they're a talented side that could make a deep run in this tournament.
Carmine, let's discuss two others that I have on my long list. Is there any value on Spain plus 750, maybe Belgium at 6-1?
Yeah, Spain. Well, both of them, but we'll look at Spain first. Spain at plus 750, also another good team. They're in a group with Poland, Sweden, and Slovakia. I expect them to come out of that group and at least make it into the quarterfinals. Like I've run, and you'll see it in the publication later. I've run simulations on a lot of these games to come up with who the group winners are, who finishes second and third. And this is a side that just stepping back even into the early 2000s, a team that that just continued to disappoint. And in 2007, it was completely transformed the team, dropped a couple of their big name players, went with a different style, a very creative style, and it just paid off dividends. 2008, they won the Euros. 2010, they won the World Cup. 2012, they came back and defended the Euros, which is so tough to do. Since then, some hit or miss performances. The World Cup, they're probably disappointed. I think a lot of their fans and supporters are disappointed. They made it. They won the group that contained Portugal in it as well too. But in the knockout stages, the first round of the knockout stages, they lost to the host nation, Russia, in that. And that I think was a game that went to penalty kicks, if I remember correctly. A bit of a shocker for them, but they're a team again that I believe can make a run here. And plus 750 is a pretty good price on them. When you look at Belgium, they're one of my favorite teams to watch, the Red Devils. This is a team that is so creative in how they play, a team that is stacked with offensive, talented players. Romelu Lukaku, Eden Hazard, Dries Mertens, and of course, the heart of their team, Kevin De Bruyne. This guy, he's a Manchester City player, just a fantastic playmaker, probably the best player on the field with whoever they play. But the one sort of caveat that you have to take into consideration as bettors is we're filming this 5 days after the Champions League final. He came off in the 60th minute of that game, having taken a really bad blow to the face, fractured his nose and a broken orbital bone. So, by all indications, they're saying that he expects to be back with the side and healthy. Whether he plays the first game against Russia in St. Petersburg, Russia, is yet to be known, but he thinks he'll be ready. We'll have to see. He'll probably wear some kind of face guard. But they're a team that, with him in the lineup and completely healthy, all my simulations have this team going right to the finals. So at plus 600, they're a team that I'm going to have money on.
I like that, Carm. Plus 600 is great, but we know I love those longer shots. Carm, give me someone that's got some nice plus money, 10 to 1 or better, because the idea of having a ticket like that is that you can hedge later on, so you can discuss that as well.
Yeah, we're going to look at some dark horses here, and obviously we're not going to find a 40 to 1 in this tournament, unlike the
What?
World Cup.
Carm, the
Yeah,
precedence has been set ever since you gave me Croatia 2 years ago.
yes.
I am going to be needing at least better than 25 to 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, the bottom dwellers are the only ones that come with that price. But I'm going to give you a couple that I believe offer some serious value. One of them, obviously, is the defending champions, Portugal. A lot of talent on that team. They're in, again, the group of death with France and Germany, but I expect them to obviously to get out of that group. And even if they finish third, that path for the third place finisher, which could be Portugal in this group, might be an easier one than finishing first or second. They might avoid quite a few of the good teams. This is one of those ones where you find you run the sims, you take a stance on a team on where you think they're going to finish, and then you project it right through. I did the same thing with Croatia. My thoughts on Croatia back in the 2018 World Cup were that they were the best team in the group, and that group contained Argentina. And I got a lot of flack from that, from the South American fans, Argentina fans, Lionel Messi fans, that I was nuts. Well, Croatia won the group, and and by doing so, my sims had them avoiding France until the finals, and that's what happened. And I'm going to go with the same thing here as far as Portugal. I think they can make a deep run, get into the quarterfinals, possibly the semifinals with this team. And once you're getting 8 to 1, 9 to 1, 10 to 1, shop around at different books. It's not about winning the tournament sometimes with these futures. It's about finding an opportunity to make money by hedging late in the tournament, because you could get a team that they're up against, and they have prices. You're not betting the 90-minute prices on a team, because the games could go at extra time and penalty kicks, which sort of defeats trying to hedge against it. Books will offer you a to advance number, which means that it takes into consideration everything that happens throughout the game, whether it goes to extra time and penalty kicks. And when you have a plus money to advance price, and you're hedging against another plus money price, you're going to make money no matter what. So it's finding some bigger prices that you can do that with, which is what we did in the World Cup. The other team I'm going to look at, and I'm going to get some flack from this one, but I'm going to say it, is the Azzurri, my Italian team. This is a team that in 2017, I pissed off a lot of my Italian cohorts and friends by saying the best thing that could happen to this team was not qualifying for the World Cup and getting embarrassed, because their team was absolutely horrible. Much like Spain did in 2007, this team did not qualify. They imploded their team, brought in Roberto Mancini to manage. He's the former Man City manager there. He's completely transformed the mentality of this team. They are no longer that team that tries to score a goal and then just sits back and defends. They not only score one, they try and score 2 and 3, and they've been doing it. In the qualifying for this tournament, they won all 10 games by a 37-4 margin. In the World Cup qualifying so far, or thus far, they've won every single game. They're playing absolute great football right now, a wealth of young talent by getting rid of some of the old dogs on the team. And while they may not be ready to win this tournament, they are going to make a deep run. They can make a deep run, and it's just going to set them up for next year's World Cup, which will, as I mentioned, will be in Qatar, And that World Cup, just as a side note, will not be a summer event. It will be run in November and December of next year because of the temperatures in Qatar are too hot. Players will be just dropping on the ground in 45-degree weather.
I love you say 45 degree, but I believe you mean Celsius. For people that
Celsius, yes.
excuse me. I know I always have to get my Canadian jabs in when I can. For people that don't normally follow you, Carm, or bet soccer, but they want to get involved with this tournament, you made it really easy with your Euro 2020 preview and predictions publications. Can you give our listeners what they should be expecting here?
Yeah, so this publication will be available on wagertalk.com. Just click on my page at WagerTalk and you'll be able to download this. And it's absolutely free. I did it also for the World Cup. It's going to have everything from my overview, a lot of what I've mentioned on this preview show. I'll talk about underdogs, talk about favorites, I think, false favorites. I will talk about who I think will progress from each group, and I will have what my Sims have showed to be the finishing order of each and every group, along with a schedule of all the games. The other cappers who are my co-hosts on my show Stoppage Time on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Wager Talk TV, they have done a preview as well too. You'll find a couple groups covered by each one, along with a power rankings and games of interest. Pretty much everything is there that you need. There's about 20 to 25 pages, and it is a fantastic guide, and you can get it absolutely free, Kelly, at wagertalk.com.
I love it. These are the kind of cheat sheets. You do these. Ralph does these. These help me with some of the sports I just don't have time to follow. Lastly, you are doing a pretty cool giveaway, though, for your customers. Give us some details on how they can get involved.
Yes, these are from my collection. I have a couple of Cristiano Ronaldo autographed jerseys framed. And for anyone who heads over to wagertalk.com and have a Euro 2020 package up where you get all of my futures plays, all of my prop bets, any game plays, totals, everything that I release during the month of the tournament. If you purchase that package over at wagertalk.com, you'll get entry into the draw. I have a 2005, 2006 Manchester United autographed Cristiano Ronaldo jersey and a 2019-2020 Juventus autographed Cristiano Ronaldo jersey. Both are framed, and you have a chance of winning either one of those.
Wow, that is exciting. Thank you, Carmine. As Carm just mentioned, his 2020 Euro Championship package is $199. That covers every single one of his plays for the entire month-long tournament.